All right, there are a lot of options when it comes to music making software out there, and you probably noticed that I juggle back and forth between a couple of them. So I'm about to show you why. And we're going to go back to the history of where it started for me.
Check, check, 1, 2. Check,
So
check,
taking
1,
it from
2.
where it all began with Fruity Loops, aka FL Studio. And I haven't touched this thing in so long, so I don't really know what it offers nowadays. But I will say this: when I was introduced to FL Studio back in high school, it was more so me getting my toes into beat sequencing and like MIDI mapping for drums and that stuff. And I didn't spend a lot of time with it until I was introduced to the next one coming up, which is Reason. But let me take a quick glance over here and see what's new. Like, I guess that's kind of cool. When I'm looking at like the interface, looks very updated. Now, I was kind of like in my mind for the longest while thinking that Fruity Loops was just a very low tier music production software, but I was wrong. I was wrong. It's looking pretty up there, and I've heard a lot of people using it too. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess I might as well just give it a shot and see what's going on with it. Discover all the instruments. Let's see. Audio Clips 8 on the Fruity Edition. This is the entry level. Loop Starter, FL Studio Mobile Rack and Effects. But it looks like it has a lot of content to work with. But yeah, like I said, it's looking a lot more updated than I thought. I was very biased about this. Let's move on to the next one. This next one is Reason. All right, it's pretty wild. It's just all over the place. Reason's just, I like their marketing's pretty sick. All right, the rack, the instruments, the legacy, your sound. I'm very much familiar with Reason. Again, used this in high school shortly after starting off FL Studio. I think I've always had a soft spot in my heart for how the UI of Reason makes you feel like you're working in a real studio with like all the racked out instruments. Back here, it'll show you these options where you can kind of just cable your way through one instrument rack to the other, which at first was super confusing until like you get the hang of it, which I did. But yeah, it just really felt like I was working with some actual hands-on instruments and gear, which in turn really inspired a lot more production work out of me. So it's really good for that. I know the updates for it, I could see as of late, is that you can now introduce this whole rack content into a new DAW. So it's like it's a VST of itself. That's pretty cool. I don't know if my copy offers that. I have to look back and see what it is, but yeah, I'm liking this. I'm missing this. This is very nostalgic for me. So I wonder how much it is these days. Actually, let's take a look. Let's see what the Reason Plus includes DAW and plugin. Reason Rack plugin itself is so 169 versus 99 Canadian a year. What is my monthly on that? If I wanted that month, 20 versus 11, 20 versus 12. Sorry. So anyway, let's move over to the next one. The next one is Logic Sound Thinking. This is one of my currents. I'm still using Logic. This is something that I went to school for. Logic is one of the DAWs that I will go to if I'm doing anything and projects. So if I need to multi-track drums, if I need to do any like guitar recording, anything like that, it really shines in that aspect for me. But it's not that you can't do things like beat production and stuff in Logic. It is extremely capable of that for sure. I just find that it gears itself more to like one niche than it does another, and I think all DAWs kind of do that. At least that's my experience. Logic is something that's part of like Pro Tools, I'd say, because you can go into major studios and find mostly Pro Tools being in use, but Logic is just like second runner up there. But yeah, in terms of its ability to mix and like master and tracking, you could do in-depth editing and everything. Don't get me wrong, is very strong in all the other areas. I just find that sometimes if I wanted to do something that was very synth or synth plugin driven, and I needed to do a lot of editing in terms of MIDI mapping and like automating and stuff like that, then I'd have to take a couple extra steps. Whereas like a program like Ableton, it's very in your face, that like that's the type of stuff you're working with. So Logic, yeah, I still use it. In terms of like production, if I do something in Ableton and I want to finish it off mix wise and master wise, I'll bring it over into Logic, and that's because I'm a little more familiar with the mixing and mastering process there. That's why I'll bring it over and finish it off. So yeah, that's Logic. It's still good. I mean, I noticed too, like there's another section I saw like brought up, just familiar to Ableton. Where is it? Oh yeah, this part. So it kind of looks like how Ableton's clip session is. The clip view, sorry. So yeah, they have all their stock loops and samples that you can just bring in, and just if you're not someone who knows how to make beats per se, you can kind of put together all these pre-made loops and samples. That's that for Logic. Let's get over to my standing current champion. Last but not least, Ableton. Find yourself again in Ableton Live. This is the current one I'm using. I'm using it alongside the Ableton Push 3, which I love to bits. And I started this one off when I did a lot of shows with Aspire, mainly so I can have all my in-ears and mics and all that stuff rigged up and automated with my backing tracks through one solid piece of software. Any of my electronic projects I will work on through Ableton for sure. The editing tools that they do offer you, especially when it comes to audio and like time stretching and stuff like that, without ever skewing the audio quality, is really up there. It's like bar none. I love it. I can still do that stuff again in like Logic, but Flex Time and Logic, there's still some gray areas, I guess, that Ableton's definitely overcome. But yeah, it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Every piece of software has their own identity in terms of like what it can offer you, and they kind of excel at one edge of something as opposed to like what the other ones can do. And that's why I jump back and forth between two of them. So let me know what you think. Drop a comment. Anyway, that's it for me. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe. Deuces.